Transitions UK is pleased to present Your Resilience, the tricks your brain can play and how to help yourself. Hi, take a look at the picture. What do we mean by resilience? Is this what you imagine being resilient is? Standing firm against a storm, no matter how battered you're getting? What is resilience? The same as grit and tough-mindedness? Yes. Within us and able to be grown and strengthened? Definitely. Knowing how and when to be still and quiet and listen to others? For sure. Being realistic. That is so important. Learning to rely on and relate to the others around you. Also really important. Sometimes it's hard to ask for help. Muddling through every day? For sure, we all do it. It is all of these things, but it's not simply positive thinking. It's not just replacing a bad thought with a good one and hoping this will help. It's learning how to listen to your brain and make the best decision you possibly can at the time.
Do I have an original thought in my head? My bald head? Maybe if I were happier, my hair wouldn't be falling out. Life is short. I need to make the most of it. Today's the first day of the rest of my life. I'm a walking cliche. I really need a leg checked. There's something wrong. A bump. The dentist called again. I'm way overdue. If I stopped putting things off, I would be happier. All I do is sit on my fat ass. If my ass wasn't fat, I would be happier. I wouldn't have to wear these shirts with the tails out all the time. Like that's fooling anyone. Fat ass. 5 miles a day. Really do it this time. Maybe rock climbing. I need to turn my life around. What do I need to do? I need to fall in love. I need to have a girlfriend. I need to read more, improve myself. What if I learned Russian or something? Or took up an instrument? I could speak Chinese, hug Chinese, and place the oboe. That would be cool. I should get my hair cut short. Stop trying to fool myself and everyone else and think I have a full head of hair. How pathetic is that? Just be real, confident. Isn't that what women are attracted to? Men don't have to be attractive. But that's not true, especially these days. Almost as much women these days. Why should I be made to feel I have to apologize for my existence? Maybe it's my brain chemistry. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. Bad chemistry. All my problems and anxiety can be reduced to a chemical imbalance or some kind of misfiring synapses. I need to get help for that.
Was the voice you just listened to familiar to you? Of course it was. We all have that negative voice inside our head nagging us. What you might not know is that you also have a positive voice inside your head. This voice is listened to a lot less often, unfortunately, because of our brain's tendency to be negative. We always hear the negative first. So let's have a look how to tap into your positive coach instead of your negative coach. Here are some common phrases. I've never done it before. Let's change that round. Perhaps it's an opportunity to learn something new. Teach yourself a new skill. This is too complicated. Let's change that. Okay, let's tackle it from a different angle. Keep looking through the list. I don't have the resources for this. Oh well, necessity is the mother of invention and therefore we'll find them somehow. I'm too lazy to get this done. Let's change that. I wasn't able to get this done because I couldn't fit it in, but we can change my priorities. There's no way this will work. I could try and make it work. We could try and make it work. Perhaps getting some others involved would help. This is too radical a change for me. Hey, let's change that too. Let's take a chance. Grab the opportunity. How about the next one? No one bothers to communicate with me. Perhaps I'll see if I can open the channels of communication with others first. And the last one, I'm not getting any better at this. I'll give it another try. Try again. Perseverance. So you see what we're trying to do. We're trying to change the negative in your head into the positive. Listen to the positive coach. Okay, let's have a closer look at some of the mistakes your brain makes. And it's not your brain's fault. Take a look at the little cartoon on the side here. There's the heart. Brain, look at all the good around us. And there's our brain. Not now, can't you see I'm busy? Just looking at all the bad. Okay, the bad is smaller than the good, as you can see, and if brain looked around him, he would be able to weigh that up. The problem is our brain is deliberately programmed to look at the bad. Why? This comes from our caveman brains, our fight and flight brains. This comes from a need to protect us. It's automatic, but it is something that we can overcome. If we're aware it's there, then we can make it change, and we can look around at the positives rather than the negatives. It affects your behaviour, but it's not something that is completely undefeatable. The next slide is going to train you how. Hi, so let's think about negativity bias in action. Okay, assuming I'm your presenter, which I am for this video, and you're my audience. Okay, simple, really simple concept. So what negative things might my brain be thinking? Okay, perhaps it's thinking, this presentation isn't engaging enough. They've already switched it off and gone to make a cup of tea instead. Perhaps it's thinking, I really should have taken more time with the audio. It would have been catchier, more exciting. Perhaps it's thinking, I should have put some cartoons in here. Perhaps something more snappy to make this more appealing for you. So look, already my brain is counting up the ways in which I should have improved this video. 3 negative points to 0 positive points. So how do I put it right? Okay, let's look at balancing out the negativity. Okay, so in that brief snapshot, I thought of 3 negatives. 3 negative beliefs to no positives. So in order to overcome the negativity bias in my brain, I have to balance the score. Now, what could I have missed? Let's think of the positives instead. Okay? By making a video, I've actually created the option of allowing you to take a break. You can pause the video, you can come back to the video, you can watch it another time. Perfect. Take a break, put the kettle on, that's fine. If I wrote my audio down before I recorded it, I could improve on it. Perhaps I should go back through the presentation and check on that. I have included some film clips and pictures to try and make my presentation more engaging. I may not have had the time to create cartoons, but I've done my best. There you go, 3 negatives, but 3 positives to balance it out. A much better prospect. Now I'm going to feel better about the rest of my presentation. Fortunately for us, exactly like the negative and positive inner voice and overcoming that, we can practice overcoming our brain's tendency towards the negativity bias. So when you get the opportunity, choose an event that you remember. Think about the negatives you did experience at the time, count them up, create the score. But then I want you to think again about the situation. What could you have missed? What opportunities were there? Who could have helped you in that situation? Look around for the rights. Then count the positives and balance out your experience. It'll make you feel better. Then in the future, when you find yourself coming against an experience that's causing you adversity, make sure the brain casts around for the positives as well as the negatives. Hopefully it will help. Okay, let's look at some more mistakes our brain makes. So far we've looked at your inner voice or inner coach. our tendency towards the negative and negativity bias. Here's one that you'll be really familiar with. Jumping to the conclusion. Jumping straight away to what you believe is going to happen without having all the facts. Inevitably, we reach the wrong conclusion when this happens. Let's take a look at our little cartoon. There's Tongue and Brain. Brain's made Tongue some soup. Tongue decides the soup needs salt before he's tasted it. Brain corrects him. How can you assume it needs salt? I like salt, says Tongue. And then, of course, he's reached the wrong conclusion. The soup's too salty. He wants Brain to make it again. Thanks to the awkward Yeti for the cartoons, by the way. Okay, so we all have a tendency to jump to conclusions. We all have a tendency to judge and decide before we have all the facts. The solution to this one is as simple as it sounds. Make sure you've got all the facts first. This is the time at which it's time to stand still and reflect and think. We all need to learn when it's good to stand still. When you're ready to jump to a conclusion, stand still for a moment, listen to yourself. Do you have all the facts that you need to make that conclusion? Probably not. So gather them first before you do. The next mistake our brain makes that we're going to look at is catastrophising. That means that your brain views or sees a situation as considerably worse than it actually is. Okay, so let's talk about catastrophising. Okay, let's say I get to my desk, that's where I am, and on my desk is a note. And the note says, "Come to the office, I need to speak to you urgently." Okay, what does the brain do with this information? There isn't actually factually a lot of information there at all. All it says is, come to the office, I need to speak with you, and urgently could mean as soon as possible. Okay, however, my brain's going to take this message and it's going to catastrophise it. Catastrophizing is going further than the negativity bias that the brain has. So it's going to say to me, oh my word, something terrible has happened. They need to speak to you urgently. What have you done wrong? What mistakes have you made recently? What's going to happen? Are you going to lose your job? Oh my word, perhaps you could lose your job. This could be it. This could be the meeting. This note could signify a meeting that's going to make you lose your job. So, you see what my brain has done. It's led to the worst possible conclusion, and that's what catastrophizing means. It means leaping to the worst possible conclusion. So let's have a look together at the next slide and see how I can prevent my brain from doing this. Okay, so how do I go about defeating catastrophizing? How do I go about stopping my brain leaping to this incredibly worst possible solution that it has? So you can see 3 pictures on the slide there. One with the red underneath it shows, boom, the worst possible thing that could ever happen. Armageddon is actually the picture. But you see the point. This is the worst possible conclusion. This is what the brain has done. It's catastrophized and taken you there. On the other side, you can see heaven, the best possible solution. And in the middle, you can see normal life. So, how to beat catastrophizing? This is what you do. You actually do let yourself do it. So let's take it to the worst possible conclusion. Let's assume that I've done something terrible. The note I've received is summoning me to the office to deal with that terrible, terrible thing, and I'm in fact going to get the sack. So that's the worst possible conclusion. Now I'm going to listen to my positive coach. Now I'm going to gather the positives around me and I'm going to take it to the best possible solution. Okay, they need me in the office to speak to me urgently. Okay, let's read the positives. I've done some hard work recently. I've created a few films. I've made some good PowerPoints. Perhaps they want to talk to me about that. Perhaps it's a promotion. Let's go for the absolute best scenario it could possibly be. Perhaps that's what it is. Now, I've taken it to the worst. I've taken it to the best. The most likely solution is that it's middle ground. It could just be that they need to arrange a meeting between me and some clients, or me and some new contacts. Or perhaps they want to offer a laptop or something that's going to help me towards the job. It could be anything. It's highly unlikely to be the sack, and it's highly unlikely to be some massive promotion. So this diffuses the catastrophizing because it forces the brain to look at the facts. What's the middle ground? That's the most likely place you're going to be. Okay, we've looked at some of the tricks the brain plays when you're in the moment. We've looked at the inner voice, that nag inner voice. And we know now we need to listen more to the positive coach and less to the inner voice that tells us what we're not doing right. Try to tune into your positive coach and practice. Practice does help a lot. We've looked at our tendency towards the negative, the negativity biased. How do we overcome that? We try to balance the score. Count the negatives, then look around you for the factual positives. See what can be helped and count those too. You'll feel better if you balance up the score at the time. We've looked at our tendency to jump to conclusions. Everybody has this. It can't be helped. This is the point at which we need to stop, give ourselves time and think and look for the facts. The facts are the truth of the matter. Where better to look? And don't listen to gossip. Gossip doesn't help. It's not a useful tool. And then catastrophizing. The ultimate place the brain will take you to make you feel the worst of the worst of the worst. And how to diffuse that. Okay, take yourself there. Think the worst of the worst of the worst, and then think the best of the best of the best. We all know the likelihood is that the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's unlikely to be the worst of the worst or the best of the best. Life isn't like that. I hope these tips and hints will help you when you're next in a situation where you've got to think fast and think on your feet. Look for the facts, look for the positives, ask for their help, and you'll have a better outcome. Thanks for watching. Bye.